All right, thank you. And last but not least, our general evaluator.
I think you skipped the timer, no?
Oh, sorry, timer.
Hey,
In any order.
hi, this is Majid. Evening, everyone. I'll be the timer for tonight. I'll keep the time for the prepared speeches and the other sections of general evaluation and the table topic. The prepared speeches are from 5 to 7 minutes, so ranging between 5 to 7, 5 to 6 is the green, and then 6 to 7, and then if you go over, it would be red signal. So this would be a hint for you when you're about reaching to your limit, and it's recommended when you see the red, you try to wind up your speech. And also for the general evaluation, we have 2 to 3 minutes, and a similar signals would be shown for that. And the table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. And now for our general evaluator.
Hello, everyone. Kiri is your general evaluator for tonight. I evaluate for entire meeting, and also I'm in charge of the last portion of this meeting, which is evaluation part. And I'll see you later.
All right, thank you everyone for not using pleonasm for your role descriptions. And we will jump right in. So I'm excited that we have a prepared speech tonight, and that will be presented to us by Diego.
Hang on, folks, let me just make sure I have my clock. When it comes to chemistry, I really want to exercise a lot of pleonasm, but I know I need to focus on the project at hand. I can't spend too much time focusing on chemistry because I know I might fall on deaf ears. So I'm going to make sure that I stick to the time and that I don't exercise pleonasm or pleonasm, whatever's the correct pronunciation of the word. Okay, let me pull out my PowerPoint and let me share my screen. Okie dokie. Can everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I see it.
Great. Okay, folks and fellow Toastmasters, I have an important 2-week update about the project that I shared with you all a few weeks back about water samples and making sure I can make a water sample without contaminating it. This speech encourages me to focus on lessons learned and not necessarily on the project that I was pursuing. So I know you guys will be able to understand the lessons learned because it has nothing to do with chemistry. There were 3 big lessons that I learned from this project from the past 2 weeks, and those include better time management skills, note-taking skills, and finally communication skills. These are all, especially the communication skill, is something that hopefully Toastmasters is ingraining within each of you. The time management skill comes from the fact that kind of a remark that David pointed out when I gave the speech a few weeks ago. I didn't make it clear whether or not I was working with a team or not. And what is the case is actually I'm working on my own on this project, but I have another chemistry supervisor who is doing another project. I'm not in any way, shape, or form assisting with his research, but he was kind enough to let me continue to work on a project that he's not involved with. And the team aspect comes in the sense that his group of students are on a schedule. They work from 9 to 4 or 9 to 5. And the time management aspect comes into the fact that I need to make sure that I get all my work done in an efficient manner that doesn't keep him or his team from getting their work done either. I want to make sure that I'm the first one to leave, so that way if his research team is taking a bit longer, it's not because of me, it's because his team wants to focus on something else. So it was an important learning opportunity for me to recognize how much time, how many steps I can do with the amount of time that I come into work every day. The next skill was about note-taking skills and observation skills. So in the past 2 weeks, it seemed that I was consistently contaminating my water samples. And it was important for me to write down anything that was going wrong throughout the process, because any part of the process that might be going wrong might be a source of contamination. And it's important to recognize potential sources of contamination, so that way when I make the water sample again, I don't repeat that mistake again, and I don't contaminate the water samples that I'm working so hard to keep clean and valuable and valid as well. So this was an important observation and note-taking skills aspect. Not being afraid to write down every single piece of detail, leaving nothing to the imagination as well. And then probably the most important skill that I've learned that Toastmasters has been teaching all of us is communication skills. Because going back to the time management aspect, there's, as smart as my friends are in the chemistry department, they can't read people's minds. The only way they can be aware of how much work I'm going to be doing or how long I'm going to be working in that period is completely run upon me communicating with them and letting them know, hey guys, I'm going to be working today from 8 to 4 p.m. What time are you guys leaving from the office? So that way I make sure that I'm leaving in their schedule as well. It's simple. It's a simple skill, and it might seem to be very unintuitive for many people, but really communication can really go a long way when it comes to working on a team. You need to make sure everyone is on the same page. If that means leaving at the same hour, or getting lunch at the same time, or coming in at the same time. These types of potential moments of friction, or moments that you aren't as efficient as you could be because you don't have everyone meeting at the same time at the same place. Many of these problems can be avoided through simple communication skills. A case in point, Luke reaching out to me and reminding me that we had a meeting today. Like I forgot, and if he didn't take the initiative to communicate to me, hey Diego, we got a meeting, don't forget, then I would have, all this hard work for this speech that I worked on would have been all for naught, and I would have had to wait on another opportunity to do this speech and to give my lessons learned. And then here's a PowerPoint just showcasing not necessarily my chemistry notebook, but just an importance of writing legibly as well when it comes to your notebooks. So those were the 3 main lessons that I learned from this project, not necessarily from chemistry itself, and those are being observant and writing everything down, thinking rationally and effectively about how much work you can get done within the amount of time that you come in today. And then also, last but not least, not being afraid to communicate with other folks about what your plan is for the day, and asking them what time or what schedule they have in mind as well. Those are 3 important team skills and project management skills I learned throughout these past 3 weeks. And I thank you all for your attention, and I'm going to relinquish the lecture back to our Toastmasters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diego. I liked your speech. Reminds me of my college days when you're trying to get everyone together for a group and you have to work that out. It can be really difficult, especially when everyone has their different schedules. So I'm glad you were able to learn how to manage that well. Okay, so we have a little bit of time for table topics. And so I will turn the lectern over to the table topics master.
So, the table topics master for tonight. I normally like to try to specify the questionings to more people, but I was kind of running out of time, and I had a lot of technical difficulties logging on with my internet at home. So if my audio or anything goes out, please somebody just start waving a hand, and that way I know that you guys can't hear me. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and read off a question, and you're going to would like to answer. Just, go ahead and raise your hand and answer for us. So the first question is, if you could advise the youth of today to learn a particular set of skills, what sort of skills would you advise?
I'll take that one.
Deep one. All right, go ahead, Olivia.
Hello. The question is, if there was a particular set of skills that I would advise the youth, what would it be? And I have many things that I think that is important for our youth. But right now, suddenly in the last decade or so, I have thought of foreign language. For 18 years, I worked at a company that was owned and operated by Singapore. So I'm not saying you need to go out and learn how to speak the Singapore language, but I mean, we are bombarded with French and Spanish. I now work for a company that is partially owned and operated by French-speaking people. So I think that it's a trade that you could really not go wrong in, because so many people still don't tap into that foreign language or that second language, and there's always a need for an interpreter, and it's something that doesn't require a whole lot of skill. As far as what I mean by skill, it doesn't require a whole lot of hands-on or book. Just sit under someone if you can and take the time to learn a second language. You can make good money being an interpreter as well. So if I was to talk to the youth today, it would be learn French or Spanish while you're young, while your brain is still sharp, because it's taken everything I have to learn Spanish, and I still am not as fluent as I would like to be. So that is my answer, and I'm back to you, Table Topics Master.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I've always wanted to learn Spanish myself. I haven't done it yet, so hopefully one day. Okay, so next question. I'm not calling you out, David, but I did have you in mind for this one. So some people say money can't buy happiness, yet most of us spend the majority of our waking hours seeking money. So what do you think? What's the relationship between money and happiness? And I only thought of you, David, because of the comment you made last week in the meditation. So you don't have to answer, but I did think of you when I read this question.
Sure, I'll give it a try. So the question is, can money buy happiness? Or what is the relationship between money and happiness? One thing I read, which I find to be accurate, is that we need enough money for food, clothing, and shelter to live a comfortable life. And we need enough money to have some enjoyment in our life. But beyond that, there's diminishing returns, to the point that there was actually a study done that comparing quadriplegics with lottery ticket winners, and people that won the lottery that made hundreds of millions of dollars reported being less happy than quadriplegics. And I think it comes down to acceptance and needing a purpose in life. We all need a purpose in life, and when we're suddenly find ourselves without needing to work, that purpose can be elusive. So I think it's a difficult thing, but money is important in the sense that we do need food, clothing, and shelter, and enough for a comfortable life. But it's not the key to happiness. And I know poor people hate hearing that, but it's and I'm not particularly rich, but I've just learned through my life that that's the case for me, at least. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
All right, thank you, David. You guys hear me okay? You just paused up and froze for a minute, but I came back, so. Okay,
I hear
good,
you.
Good. Well, thank you for the answer, David, and I definitely agree with you about purpose, and I've read certain things, just like you were saying about some of the lottery, winners, and then where they are now and what they spent their money on, and it being gone, and they're just, they're just definitely not happy. So I can definitely understand that. So we do have time for maybe one and maybe two more. So the next question is, what is your favorite childhood memory that you would like to have the chance to relive?
I'll take that one. Okay, let me start now. Okay. The question that was asked to me is, what is a childhood memory that I would like the chance to relive? So this is actually a very timely question due to it being Father's Day yesterday. But my father passed away when I was 12 years old, and we used to live in New York City, and we lived near this pier that you could see the whole skyline of Manhattan. And we would go from our apartment and bike down to that pier and just spend all day sitting at the pier and going to the little restaurants around. And it was so beautiful because it's quiet in that part of town and you can see the whole skyline. And I just have a lot of good memories there and around that area that we used to live. So if I could pick one memory to relive, it would be to have another bike ride down to that pier and be able to sit there at the water. I've been back as an adult, but it's still not the same as when you're a kid. So thank you, that is all.
All right, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, when I read that question, I had all sorts of different thoughts and everything. Sometimes I can smell certain things, and it literally makes me think of back home, or I hear something like all the crickets or frogs outside. And back in Georgia, it definitely just reminds me of growing up. And you don't hear it all every night down here like you do back home. Okay, so we have time 7:18 we'll do one more. Let's see. What is the longest time you've ever spent at a single job? What did you learn from it?
I can answer that.
All right, there you go.
My fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, the longest period of time I've had a job has been one job, and that was for, I want to say 10 months. And that was through the AmeriCorps program with Mobile Baykeeper, which is a nonprofit environmental group. And probably the most important lessons I've learned was not necessarily working on environmental issues, but learning how to work on a team and how to collaborate more. Because I think I had a poor understanding of what real life work would be like when I left when I was finished with school, because I thought it was, because like most classwork, as everyone has had experience, it's very singular based. It's all like you turn in your homework, you turn in your math homework, and you're graded for it. But in the real world, it's really not like that. You have to work in a team, you have to collaborate, you have to build schedules together, you have to assign projects, you have to assign small stepping stones with other people, and then come back together and share what work you did or what obstacles you ran into, things like that. Those have probably been the most important lessons that I've tried to take to heart and that I want to continue to exercise when I finish with when I'm finished with school one more time, when I actually have hopefully a longer tenure period of job for myself, because really that's how every job is. You work as a team. No one really works in isolation. Those are my lessons learned from my longest period of time working. Back to you, Luke, our Table Topics Master. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Diego. Okay, and we are right at 7:20, so I will relinquish the turn back to our Toastmaster.
All right, thank you. That was a good table topic session. I was actually been thinking about the lottery question recently. Just a short thing, a kid that worked at a grocery store, was 21 years old, just bought a ticket for fun and won like $40 million. You know, they say money doesn't buy happiness, but I would be willing to try it just to make sure that can confirm that. So anyways, moving on, I would like to welcome our general evaluator to start the next portion of our meeting.
Hello, everyone. This is Carrie again, your general evaluator for tonight. I'll make an evaluation for entire meeting later. So let's start Diego's evaluation. His evaluator is Maurice.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Diego's speech was entitled Success in Making Uncontaminated Water Supplies. It was actually it's his second speech, but he was going over lessons learned. So the purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing a plan, building the team, and fulfilling the plan with the help of his or her team. The purpose of the second speech, which this is the evaluation of the second speech, is for the member to share some aspect of his or her experience managing a project. So I'm going over the general comments. He excelled at presenting the lessons learned from the project. I'm going to skip what you may want to work on. I'm going to go to challenge yourself. Just keep on excelling and improving on the different speech projects that you encounter. Now for the evaluation, the clarity, the speaker was loud and clear. I gave him a 4. Vocal variety. Now vocal variety, I did give him a 2, but this type of speech doesn't really call for a lot of vocal variety. He just to present lessons learned from his project and including his previous speech. So there was it just really did not call for a lot of vocal variety. And again, now the eye contact, using a webcam, and we're doing it through Zoom. So the best way to do eye contact is to continue looking at the camera, which may be convenient or inconvenient, but I gave him a 3 for eye contact. Gestures, he presented effective gestures. Audience awareness, I felt that the audience was aware of what the speaker was presenting. Comfort level, the speaker appeared to be very comfortable explaining the lessons learned from his project. Interest, the speaker presented a topic that did arouse the audience's interest. And learning, the speaker had a good grasp about the lessons learned during his project. So that is the evaluation of Diego's speech. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Maurice. It's really nice to see you all the time with your beautiful Bahama background. It makes me relax with your nice voice. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have Grammarian Kyler.
Hey everybody. So this evening I did not hear any abuses of the English language. Everyone spoke clearly, everyone was grammatically correct. And we had 3 people use the word of the day. We had Cheyenne, myself, and Diego. And that's it. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Kyler. I didn't get the word of the day. What's that word? Sorry.
The word of the day is pleonasm.
Pleonasm.
Mm,
Yeah, it's pleonasm.
Over explaining something or using too many words to describe something.
okay.
Or redundancy.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Next, our counter, Luke.
All right. Good evening again, everybody. So I'm 100% guilty of listening to all the speeches and table topics questions and really listening to the answer. And so I kind of failed tonight in my ah counter. I did catch Cheyenne. I thought you had one ah. Other than that, I definitely gave myself some because I can't make it through a meeting or a speech and not have at least 5. But everybody else, I thought did. I thought everybody else
at
did
least
great.
one.
Did you? Okay, I'll put that down. So Olivia, we had Olivia and Cheyenne with 1, and me with at least 5 because I've taught myself just in this little presentation doing it. But other than that, that is it. And back to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it. The last is timer, Majid.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. So everyone was able to finish their speech in a very accordance manner. The first prepared speech that was from Diego was 5 minutes and 45 seconds. The table topic, Olivia, was 1 minute and 40 seconds. David was the second table topic, was 1 minute and 29 seconds. Xian was the third table topic. She was 1 minute and 7 seconds. Diego was the fourth table topic, and he was 1 minute and 40 seconds in the table topic. Morris, for the general evaluation, for the speech evaluation for Diego, was the first evaluator. His evaluation was 2 minutes and 41 seconds. With this, I'll relinquish the lectern back to general evaluator, Corey.
Thank you, Majid. I like the gesture, just a little gesture, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, it works. I mean, I could prepare to hear the number. So I like that. There's just a little thing make a big difference sometimes. Thank you. I really like that. Okay, so general evaluation. I'll make a evaluation for entire meeting. We started meeting quite late, and we were behind the schedule in the first portion of the meeting, but we had only one prepared speech tonight, and that allowed us to try to catch up. And we are not that behind the schedule right now. It's still 7:29. That's good. And we are very cooperative to try to catch up, and that was very good. And that's the comment, that's the evaluation for tonight. Thank you so much. And back to Toastmaster
All right.
Cheyenne.
Yes.
Thank
you. Thank you, Carrie. You always do a great evaluation. You do a great job of wrapping it up for us. So I'm not sure if we have an educational overview this evening.
I have one
We do.
prepared.
Awesome. All right. So I will turn it over to David for our educational overview for the evening.
Hi, everyone. This month's issue of Toastmasters magazine has an article, and the title is Neuroscientist Offers Antidote for Stage Fright. Cool, huh? An antidote. She's got a pill we can all take. No, I'm kidding. No pill. But she did do a TEDx talk, a 15-minute TEDx talk, and I watched it this afternoon. Her name is Dr. Anwisha Banerjee, and she starts by saying that public speaking is being singled out. It's like being singled out. And when we're singled out in a crowd, we become hyper alert. One of the reasons she gives is in the past, eons ago, when we were cavemen and women walking the prairies, when we were singled out, it was usually something bad, like a lion has singled us out to be his next meal. And so our brains go into hyper alert as a survival mechanism. And the correlation here is that now we're not afraid of being eaten, but we are worried about our reputation. Our reputation might be eaten if we're doing a public speech, and we're worried that we might blank out or just do something dumb and everybody's going to think less of us or make fun of us. Her solution is exposure therapy. I know that doesn't sound too exciting, but exposure therapy is not taking off our clothes and getting naked in front of each other. It's actually doing something over and over again until your brain says, okay, fine, I can do this. And a good example she gives is driving. When we first are learning to drive, typically we're very nervous, we're afraid, we're driving this monstrous machine. If we make a mistake, there could be a serious accident, people could get hurt or killed. But the more we drive, the more comfortable we get with it. Until now, I would venture to say most of you, when you're driving, don't even give it a second thought. You're totally comfortable behind the wheel. So why do we drive? Because we must. Are you kidding? In this city, if you try walking or bicycling or taking a bus, it's just not practical. So driving is a necessary thing. She says to look at public speaking the same way. It's something we must do, so let's just get used to it. And the way to do that is to make it a habit. Let's get comfortable with it like we do with driving. Dr. Banerjee has been in Toastmasters for 6 years, and she reckons that she's given about 200 speeches, or table topics, everything all put together. And she says Toastmasters is a great way to practice giving speeches, but she still has stage fright. But her brain doesn't pay as much attention to it now, and she can focus more on her speech content and delivery. So to conclude, she says, speak often, speak to a variety of crowds, speak at work, with your friends and family, really any chance you get. Don't tell yourself that you can live without public speaking or that you don't need it, that you should avoid it. Just don't get over it, get used to it. Mr. General or Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. That was good. I need to check my mailbox for the newspaper because they always provide some good information and good articles. So thank you for sharing that. And now to conclude our meeting, I will pass the lectern back to the president as we finish up tonight.
Diego, you want me to take that one? Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Just because I think Diego and Olivia kind of came on a little late when I was going over the club business, so we do have a little bit of time. So I did reach out to Carpe Diem to try to figure out if we can hold meetings in July. I'm waiting on a callback right now. And Diego did make the suggestion on doing blended meetings on people's comfort level. And so if they do allow it, I'll go up there and take a tour of the space, get the particulars. It's something that I can pass at the next meeting. And we can, hold these blended meetings. People can come if they feel comfortable, or we can only have a max, people in the room. But I'll get all those details. I'll pass it, and we'll start making plans for, the beginning of July. Other than that, all of the new incoming officers, so Carrie, Kyler, David, myself, and Majid. I know David's already signed up. I did sign up for the TLI officers training. It only took a couple minutes, and that looks like it's going to be this Saturday. It starts at 8:30.